Let's talk today about ideologies and how most, if not all, ideologies today are dead. Okay, and all that they can say is dumb stuff like, let's see, I have a nice link here. Okay, presidential campaigns. Okay, we have, of course, the obvious Make America Great Again. Oh, not the Ronald Reagan. Okay, Donald Trump. Okay, which is nice, catchy slogan. Doesn't require heavy thinking because it doesn't say anything meaningful. No, just like what was the other Build Back Better. Let's see. Okay, and of course, last but not least, we have the Marxist commie and their circular logic. I will not point to a specific slogan, but they usually go around pointing to Soviet Union did great stuff because they were communists, and thus therefore communism is great because the Union did great stuff, kind of thinking. But here is the problem: you are in 2022, soon 2023, and so on, and you want people today to be hyped by "Make America Great Again," a slogan which collapses if you ask questions like, "Well, when was Murica great?" And what do you mean by great? Okay, does segregation count as being great when your own citizens are fooled by the United States government to invade faraway countries, destroying their infrastructure and killing the population? Was that great? When, of course, your own government screws hard your education, the healthcare, the infrastructure, and so on. That's your definition of great. Well, anyway. Now, is that we can apply the same thing with Build Back Better. For example, uh, we have the United States sending additional $14 billion to Ukraine, while Jackson, Mississippi, okay, does not have drinkable water. Zero, none. So you have built a system which let the capital of a state, a great and free American state, without drinkable water, okay, due to the insane levels of corruption existing in this system. Okay? Now, what exactly would you like to build back better? Okay, so yeah, that's a very huge problem. Let's see. Oh, and you this is like as of Google. Of course, search it and find the clip. Obama drinks water to show residents that it's safe. See the original video. See how all the people what in the audience watched that moment and gasped at the huge amounts of hypocrisy displayed by Obama. And not only the hypocrisy, it was complete disregard of of humanity and care and whatever. So yeah, um, he was an evil clown. He sipped that water, and Michigan, Flint, Michigan, wasn't some unimportant small town in the middle of Sahara Desert. It was in the middle of the United States, and like Obama was building that better by literally taking a dump on the suffering population and making their problems like what the fuck? Okay, so we are getting at the Eastern European communism. And guess what? They built cities just like Western Europeans and just like Americans. So we can say that yes, they were a bit better planned than the Western cities, where you kind of have a dumb system of roads and highways, problematic suburbs, problematic smaller cities, and very problematic large cities. And that was simply because they were built based on some very idiotic and problematic principles. Okay, so the Soviets inspired cities worked well for a couple of decades, but ultimately they become um, money pits due to a long list of issues. So you want to come up with something better. You know, you cannot say, and I will get into this right now. Me, MOF, I will snap my magical finger and poof, you and your ideology rule your country. Okay? And now you need to solve the city, the housing, the infrastructure problems ASAP. Okay? You kind of have two choices. A, throw less money, sort of, what is that? Smaller government, reduce spending, and so on, okay, which will leave some of the infrastructure at best in a derelict state, which will cause problems and cost more money down the road, or demolish and replace it with something which, surprise, surprise, cost more money. Or option B, throw more money to build more of the same dumb roads, idiotic suburb, more big cities together with their own problems. Okay, so it doesn't make sense. Neither A nor B makes sense. Okay? So let's look at a final practical example and try to understand what exactly is lacking in all of these um, scenarios I just presented you with. Okay, and this final example is China. Okay, everybody is talking about how many apartments China built over the last years. They build apartments. Okay, great. But you know what? US, Europe, Soviet Union, they all build apartments. Okay. They allowed real estate speculation. Okay. US, Canada, Europe, Australia, they did and are doing exactly the same thing, and it creates endless, nightmarish set of problems. Okay, so what else? China built apartments with windows and doors. Great, of course. And they made them available to the people with the following benefits: running water, Suez, heating, cooling, to put in them washing machines, TV, smartphones, PCs, and furniture. Great. They did the same thing almost every other country on this planet have been doing for decades. They build streets and infrastructure for cars, sure, but they did exactly the same thing like any other city, right? For any other city built in any other country, anywhere on this planet. And these new cities were built by a country where both the government and the citizens, especially the CCP citizen, brag about building a better future for each and everyone, for each person. But now, if we look at the reality of things, we look to what the CCP and Evergreen did, one of the companies involved in the real estate landscape, we can observe lots of cities where all you can do is work, spend your money at the proof shops, sleep and multiply and repeat. This is nothing different than what was the norm in the 1800s and 1900s, a norm spawned in certain parts of the world from religious bullshit going like work hard your entire life to please the elites, pardon, the invisible man in the sky, which will be more than happy with your efforts. Okay? But or in the other parts to because you will find, I don't know, the great coming of the or fulfillment of your ideology. But the thing is, did all this stuff done by China allowed the people to have more time and money on their hands? No, not really. Did it allow the people, young and old, to go and engage on their personal projects or collective projects, empowering them in any way, shape, or form? No. Maybe China built these people's places. We can name them, I don't know, hacker spaces, no? Just like all the other countries. And as a number to put on the problem, we can look at this article. I find it, or somebody sent it to me. Thanks for it. It was a nice article. Hacker spaces. Okay. This is an awesome article, and they are talking in this article about China building like 100 community hacker spaces. Yeah, sure, nice. But the thing is, in the realm of hacker spaces, that is good. But still, that is promoting a behavior in which mostly the elites and certain level of elitist behavior is being rewarded, and it's promoting and perpetuating the same kind of stuff as in the West. Okay, so yeah, it is good, it is nice, but maybe instead of 100 hacker spaces, okay, like China has bazillion coins to spend, and they're looking for various way to spend them. How about we see them building like 10,000 hacker spaces or 100 thousands of such spaces, and we see China equipping them with 3D printers, all sorts of tech to do bio research, sensors, and robotics, and so on. And maybe, spread this network of hubs all over the world. Maybe almost at zero cost to, speed up innovation and allow people to better themselves and very importantly, organize themselves at home in their own country, in China, and of course in any other country around the globe. No? Sure. No? Oh, okay. Which leads us again to the same conclusion. We have been praising China for exactly the same stuff everybody else did and does. And that stuff is containing the same problems that everyone else has encountered and because they created them. Right? But somehow in this example, China, okay, sometimes because it's sort of in the same presented as being uh, communist, because it's in the name of the party, okay, is seen or promoted as being much better. And that's laughable. So you cannot successfully convince the masses your ideology is better if you constantly promote stuff that was already done since the early 1900s and especially done by every country on this planet since 1950s, in a more modern version. Okay. Now, for example, we could bring up the fact that you, as a person living in the West or in the East, you don't have enough time to meet with other people and to organize. and engage with the government and its institution in a meaningful way. Okay? Why? Because you don't have enough free hours. Okay, barely get enough hours to take care of your family. Okay, very rare is the case when you have extra free hours to get together and organize, not to mention the resources and so on. Okay, and why don't you have the free hours? Simply because we see it, the ideology doesn't allow it, and also we see the manifestation of this ideology, of this problematic ideology in the city, in the very cities that you are living. Okay, these cities aren't built to allow you to better express myself. Okay, because nobody who had the power, let's say the government, nor the ideology implemented, upon which they acted, said that you should have more free hours, you should have access to space where to meet with other people, the money, resources, and the logistics for people to engage in any activity than mindless sleep, work, spend money in the designated shop, multiply, repeat. Okay, and why is that? Well, I would say that one of the major causes, major reasons, is the fact that the ideologies that we see them in action today spawned from a scarcity mindset. Okay, either the capitalist mindset, okay, in which only the corporation can create things and stuffs, okay, and only their collusion with by them colluding with politicians and the government, if that things go well, you might have a chance of getting some stuff if you can afford it, or in the eastern sort of marxist type of way, see the literature which was written, which inspired so many people, that literature was written in times of extreme poverty. Okay, so some people I was talking with from Discord about these cities that China builds like any other country on this planet, pointed out to me that China was also trying to implement other policies. And sure, I agree. There are many issues in China, uh, but plenty of these issues are because they were implemented badly. Okay, and still they are being presented as the greatest achievement on the planet. Okay, and it's not. So these cities, for example, were the Chinese cities we are talking here. Okay, they were being built and grown since the 80s. Okay, so the mentality and the ideology behind their planning is telling us, is telling everyone, work, eat, take a dump, sleep, spend your money in the approved shops, make little workers, and repeat. Okay? This mentality, this ideological framework was in place since at least, obviously, 80s. Okay? And the very problems were there from the beginning. Okay? And let's see, for example, I'm curious how many Chinese cities were built. List of Chinese cities. This is the stuff, official, unofficial stuff. The Tire city, but yeah, Okay. So they compared in the 78 to 2010. They compared trends in 142 Chinese cities, 17 agglomeration, to understand urban explosion and population growth following the reforms. Okay, so this is not 3 or 4 years of bad implementation. It's not uh, just like three. Oh, it's couple of years. No, that is bad mentality put in practice and reinforced over 4 decades, like literally 40 years. Yes, it says 2010, but still we are in 2020. So that means many 5-year plans, and it wasn't just one, two, three, 5 cities. It was like hundreds of cities. Okay, and this kind of stuff necessitates generations upon generations of local apparatski, central apparatski, which promoted the same stuff that everyone did based on the same scarcity mentality and nothing else. They acted like all this stuff was the single greatest thing on this planet. And there are zero signs of China trying to change anything to allow people to get out of the sleep it shit work cycle. Okay? Now, on the other side, in my example, the Chinese people having access to all these hundreds, maybe thousands, hundreds of thousands of hubs and workshops could very easily ask and influence the CCP to give them shorter work weeks. You know, we achieve that sort of without a revolution. Okay, and that would also eliminate, would give the people the power to make a decision on the fake problem, automation versus the people. Because it's a fake problem. It's unless we want to act smart. Otherwise, yes, it's a fake problem. We cannot solve it very easily, and capitalists and government will be always right. But we can take a decision. Yes, let's use automation to have more time on our hands. Okay, therefore, let's use automation to our advantage. So, yeah, you'll still have a job, but you'll also have get more time on your hands, and it would be possible for you to do more in that time, from taking better care of your family, friends, and kids, to having more time to especially to interact with your government. Okay, police their policies. Maybe start a project in one of these hacker spaces, democratize some technologies, make them open source, cheap as fuck, if not free. No, literally, we could be taking them away from the exclusive control of the government and corporation and putting them back in the hands of the people. Okay, so now I would like to believe that you are interested in achieving such a state of things. Now, in this clip, I never sold you an ideology. I just presented you with what I consider the good things you should have access to, aka the advantages of joining my way of thinking, framing in a let's try and try to implement it today. Okay? Now, I'm not interested in joining an ideological movement. Simply put, especially one which cannot articulate how the better future they would like to build will be better. Okay? More so, especially when the standards they stand by firmly are rooted in outdated values and practices are coming up from a scarcity mentality, which is definitely antithetical to whatever growth, bettering of things you and they want to achieve. And now, sprinkling some electric cars, hyperloops, and stuff like that doesn't solve any of the problems the cities and people face today. And also, no, quoting stuff from the time of Soviet Revolution from the early 1900s doesn't count as a solution for any of the problem we encounter today and tomorrow. It's just a way to hide your impotence behind violence that was done by others a long time ago. That's sort of the definition of coping. So yeah, let's move away from watching the usual talking heads, both on the left and right, which play the same variation of the same old the other side is bad because they are guilty and this is why you cannot have good things. So here we go, folks. Let's get some standards, preferably some high ones. Join my side, our side, and let's see what we can build better. So yeah, this was today's episode about how you, by simply promoting an ideology, is engaging in the destruction of your own ideology, okay? And how and why you should join something better in order to achieve palpable things. Okay, so yeah, thank you for tuning in. Share with other people, comment, join, support me. Links in the description, and see you in the next video. See ya.